Uh, how many of you doesn't understand Malayalam? Okay, couple of you. Okay. I mean, there was one request like I should talk in Malayalam since I am from Kerala and I work for NPCI. So people wanted to listen like how we do it and they wanted to understand. But I will cover in both language. Just for that heart-to-heart connect, I will talk in Malayalam. But for the technology, we'll talk in English. Okay. And I think they asked the question, right? How many of you understand UPI or NPCI? How many of you use UPI? Like pretty much everyone, right? Anyone doesn't use UPI? No one, right? Okay. So we used to hear this question, like NPCI is whether it is all about UPI or not. It's not. Basically, any payments you do in India, right? Any retail payments in India goes through one of our platform. Whether it is your salary, whether you make the fast track payment, UPI is the poster boy. Like I mean, anywhere like you will see UPI is the best innovation which happened in world for the payments. And we have a very good story, like over the time, how we built UPI and how we built all other payment products, and some of our learnings, and what we did over the time to understand the technology, understand the industry, and everything. And one quick question: how many of you believe that NPC is a government organization? Because we have the national brand in our title, so National Payments Corporation of India. So how many of you believe it's a government organization? Anyone believes it's a government organization? No one. Okay, is it a private organization? No. So okay, other than private and government, what is that? Public. Any idea? Okay, so that means you don't know about NPCI. So we'll start with that. So this is what NPCI. So NPCI is held by many public sector and private sector banks. It's regulated by RBI. It's a not-for-profit organization. So it doesn't come under any profit, but we make a lot of profit. And this is also another question, like whether NPCI really makes a profit, because we don't make any payments or maybe we don't charge any transaction fee. But we make, I mean, it's close to 1800 crore per year, which we make only in UPI. So that's the revenue it generates. Not revenue, it's a profit. And if you see pretty much all the large players you will see, including SBI, HDFC, even the smallest one like PhonePe or Google Pay, everyone holds share in NPCI. It's a public sector undertaking. And this is the journey of NPCI. So we started around 2008. That's our first launch. One of your favorite product before demonetization, ATMs. All ATMs were controlled by NPCI. We had something called NFS, National Financial Switch. That was originally developed by RBI and handed over to NPCI for operating. All ATMs in the country is managed through NFS, National Financial Switch. That was our first product. Then we launched IMPS, Immediate Payment Service. Anyone used IMPS in your day-to-day life? Very few, because IMPS was the hard problem to solve. So you just want to make the payment more seamless. But the bad part is you need an internet banking account. So we added a lot of friction there. You need an internet banking account, you need to add a beneficiary, you need to enter OTP. It was very hard. Then what we did is like that problem we wanted to solve. So we started with something called UPI. The only thought process was you should be able to reduce the friction of people. And how many of you are from startups? No one is from startup. Okay, everyone is from startup. Any founders? Okay. So if you are founder or if you want to found a company, right? So one thing which we realized over the period of time is like if you make the people more lazy, right, your product will get successful. That's the simple fact. So you make the people lazy, then people will your product will be successful. UPI we did that only. We made it extremely simple. You don't need to carry your wallet. You don't need to enter your OTP. You don't need to wait for a SMS for getting the OTP. And you just need to enter a PIN which you set maybe a couple of months back. You don't even need to just remember. I mean, you will automatically commit in your hand, right? And you don't need to carry your wallet. And we made it extremely simple. You just scan and pay. So you don't need to even enter the amount. You will get a QR code. You just scan it. You make it payment, right? That's the reason how UPI grown over the period of time. We made it more lazy. And another example, you use ChatGPT, right? So why ChatGPT or any GPT related product is famous? Made it more simple. You don't need to search and filter the data. So you just search or type something, you will get the data. So anything and everything you do, you build for simplicity and make people lazy, your product will be successful. So that is one thing we learned from UPI adoption. And then all innovations we did in that way, like how you can make more simpler and more lazy. I mean, you should make people more lazy. And if you see 2016, right, that's the time when we launched UPI for the first time in India. It was like a very basic pilot we launched there is something called Beam. So Beam was our pilot application. It's our playground. So we started with Beam. We onboarded PhonePe and some of other providers, and we took some of the large banks just to pilot and see how it works. And do you know how much we process today in last 9 years? Transaction volume, value, any idea? How many transactions you do day to day? Anyone doing more than 10? Okay, 1%. Okay, minimum 2? Everyone is doing, right? Okay, so we make a payment for tea or we make payment in auto. Almost everywhere we do, right? 2024 is the time we touched close to 17 billion transactions in a month. Not even in a year. In a month we touched 17 billion transactions. Any idea on daily volume? How many we do? I think Jijo posted a LinkedIn post somewhere. Any guess? I mean, people who've seen might be aware. Any idea how many we do? 700 million. Is it a real number? 700 million transactions in a day. That too in India, just with the population of India. And I will give a surprise. 700 million, which we say, is approved transaction. It doesn't count your balance inquiries. It doesn't count failure transactions. It doesn't count auto pay. Your mandate payments are there, right? Basically, you subscribe Netflix, right? How many of you are using UPI for Netflix? Okay, very few. How many of you are using card for Netflix or any subscription? Okay, that is hardly one. So, UPI auto pay was a feature we introduced. The problem was very simple. India is a country where we don't own a lot of credit cards, right? You need a mechanism to subscribe very easily with your debit card accounts or your debit accounts, right? So we implemented UPI auto pay, which gives a exactly same behavior as card, but it will automatically debit from your account with a simple authorization. And it beautifully worked actually. I mean, half of the card utilization for subscription in India is just changed. And we thrown away almost all the players, like including Visa and MasterCard in India, just with auto pay subscription. And if you see one more thing, right, 2016 and before, right, it was like very slow growth for NPCI. From 2016, after UPI, our pace got increased. So we started launching at least 2 products every year. So that is bare minimum we do. And scale is like every month or every 2 months, we add 1 billion transactions into the overall pool of transactions within UPI alone. And if you take all products of NPCI, every day it grows close to 1.2 billion transactions. So that is what we process. So this is the scale comparison. So if you see, right, the second one is most interesting one. We are one of the largest player who process like close to 240,000 requests per second. Any guess on the first one? Who is the first one? We are second. We are not first. So who process more API requests in world? Any idea? Okay, how many of you use WhatsApp? Okay, many users, right? So WhatsApp is the first one, and we are the second one. And company which is founded in India, operated in India, and 99.99% is managed in India, is processing one of the second largest API volume in the world. And we wanted to overcome that also, like we wanted to be the first one. So what we did is like very simple thing. We convinced WhatsApp to integrate payment into the form of WhatsApp Pay. So that just like how you message, right, you can make payment. And we can overcome their the total volume. And we had a lot of challenges, but we integrated it. So anyone using WhatsApp Pay? Okay, no one ever tried, right? You can try it. It's simple as sending a message. You can make a payment. And one more thing I just wanted to tell you. So one interesting reason why UPI is growing very massively, right? We made it simple. So you don't really see a friction. You will not have a thought of holding your money back. The moment you see, you just make the payment because you don't need to take your wallet. You don't need to have cash in hand. So whether it is cash is there or card is there, you have your phone with you, so you will simply spend. So that is the reason why UPI is growing like at the scale of like 1 billion, 2 billion every 3 months, every 4 months like that. And last month we touched 20 billion transactions. August is the month we touched 20 billion transactions. That's the max as of now. And this month we are expecting it will touch close to 21 million. So we are in that journey because this is the month where you are going to pay your income tax and all. So UPI has a native integration to income tax portal. So most of the people will be leveraging that. And 3 billion is the top 3-4 countries total digital payment volume. Any guess how much we are contributing in digital payment volume? It's like close to 60% of world payments is from India in digital. So that's what we achieved over the period of time. So this is just simple slide. We are number one in the world in terms of transaction value, in terms of transaction volume, and in terms of interoperability. So you can use, and anyone really gone through how UPI works? You can have PhonePe, you can have Google Pay, but your account belongs to SBI or IDFC, and I can pay to someone acquired by Paytm, and that guy's account belongs to some other bank. It's like a very diverse set of parties just combined together just to make a payment, right? As good as your SMTP. So I am sending from my Gmail to, let's say, Outlook. It goes through multiple SMTP layers, right? And finally it reaches the destination. UPI follows the same strategy. So we have routers in between. It's a software router, so that takes care of routing and reaches all the participants involved. It's like 4 parties in a system for every transaction. And this is how it grown. So we are like touching new peaks every time. This is the UPI stats. So I mean, since it's a tech session, right? And most of you guys are DevOps guys, so you will understand latencies and everything. So 240K is the SSL API request. Like with SSL, we are handling close to 240,000 requests. And 20 billion transactions we are doing. And 100 millisecond is our latency. Okay, so the P99 is 100 milliseconds. So that's why the moment you enter a PIN, right, you will see a transaction completed. So I mean, you can just blink your eyes and you will get a transaction completion message. That goes through 24 API calls across 4 data centers. Even the geographical latencies are there. So still we handle under 100 to 200 milliseconds. And so we have close to 684 banks. Anyone is aware like we have 684 banks in the country? No, right? I mean, we have the largest one and the smallest one, who does hardly 1 transaction in a month also. And we have SBI, the big bull in the game, 60% of the volume only handled by SBI. And we manage our own data center. So we own our data center, no footprint on the cloud. So we build the entire stack, we deploy the complete open source, we manage the complete orchestration layer, everything, complete virtualization, bare metal orchestrations, application resiliency, everything is built in-house and managed by ourselves. And data centers are in India, 1 in Hyderabad, 2 in Chennai, 1 in Mumbai. And all are owned by us, like the facility is owned by us, team is owned by us, and their stack is built by us. And 100% open source. Everything is built on open source. There is no single component in the proprietary layer. We don't pay any license. So we just take support in case if there is a L1 incident or P1 incident. So we take a support, on-call support. But 99% time, our team only resolve all issues we found. And we own most of the source code. So even though it is on open source, we absorb the code base into our stack and we maintain it, we manage it. So we built our in-house engineering team to take care of all the critical softwares. And we contribute back, but very rarely because there are a lot of controls within us. And we started doing from last year onwards to give whatever we built over the period of time, including the payment stack. And most of the stack, right, you must be familiar. You might have used in one of your other products. And when we started adopting open source, the biggest question was like, will it scale to the level we want? And one thing we did is like we proved to the world that open source can scale to the level you want, as long as you have the engineering capability and you have that passion to drive the success. And this is the QR code I was telling. So one reason why UPI is successful is simple and elegant QR code, right? And this is for all the startups or maybe someone who want to found, right? Across world, one different thing we found was like, there is nothing called static QR code, which is like just you can print on a paper and you can accept payment. So everyone believes on the POS machine. You have a POS machine and you just need to tap or you need to swipe or just do something like you can make the payment. So one thing we did with static QR is like you have a QR code which embeds a simple payment information. It will have a VPA, virtual private address. And you print it on a hardboard or you print it on a paper or you just show in your phone. It works very beautifully. and static QR code is what deployed across the country, majority of the places. And it has a very base information and accelerated the adoption. So you do it very simply, it will accelerate the adoption. And second one is we have the dynamic QR code. So when we implemented static QR code, we realized that when you do online transactions or when your business wants more context to the transaction, right? You need to get the context of the transaction. You need to get the amount, you need to get the type of transaction, from which location people are paying. So we started implementing dynamic QR code also. So anyone uses a POS machine, right? You essentially see a dynamic QR code, which embeds the value also directly. Again, we didn't do it centrally. That is one difference we did from entire world and India. So everyone in the world, right, what they do is like they have a central system who generates the QR code and gives back to the edge devices, wherever you are seeing that message. What we did is slightly different. So we created a standard which can generate a QR code and we deployed on the edge locations. As long as you follow the standard, you can make the payment. You can generate the QR code and make the payment. So rather than doing everything centrally, we offloaded to the edge. That helps to scale faster. Because if you aggregate everything to central, you will start bleeding because your cost of infra will increase, your cost of maintenance will increase, and the moment it goes down, you have a single point of failure. Just to avoid that, we made it offloaded to the edge devices you generate based on the standard. As long as you comply with the standard, you can make the payment. And as of today, we have close to 700 million QR codes deployed across the country. And yesterday also when I was taking one auto, I saw that there is a QR code which is printed, not even the accurate QR code. I think his personal QR code he printed and sticked on the back of auto. So that's the satisfaction you get. I mean, okay. So something which we built is present in your native also, and you can see it on as just a printed version. And so now I wanted to share that story, like how we build. I mean, nothing is overnight. I mean, NPCI never had an overnight success. So we've gone through a lot of cycles. So I just want to cover that aspect. So one is we just call it as black box. I mean, this is how we started. So we bought payment products from external partner like FIS or Euronet, and we operated the system. So we were just like an operator. I mean, we don't really understand any technology. We don't understand engineering. So we just bought the licenses and we deployed on our premises and we only managed. So we were a service provider. That is the start. How we started IMPS, how we started the NFS network. We never had any control. We are just an operator. If you see the entire payment stack, right, whether it is UPI, card, IMPS, any product you take, it's only 3 layers. You have the banking system, you have the online system, you have the back office system, you have the RBI systems. RBI systems are where we do the settlements. And online system is what we see on online. Back office is mainly for settlement, reconciliations and everything. Banking layer is your traditional banking layer. Any system can just come in. So this is how we started. And after a point, right, once we implemented IMPS, we realized that, I mean, you can't really be just an operator. I mean, you don't really understand. If you want to scale faster, if you want to achieve your dreams, you need to start building your own. So then we started playing around the code. So what we did is like the coding layer, we made it open, and all the products we purchased licenses, like all databases we procured the licenses. It was all managed services. But the core implementation, where our expertise is there, the payment system we built in-house. So it gives us true flexibility. So we started understanding how payments really works. And second thing is, we have a insurance. We have the cloud providers, we have the DB license providers. So anything goes wrong, we can just catch their head. I mean, system is down, so you solve it. This is my P1 incident. So my SLA is 10 minutes, you solve it and you move forward in life. So what we did is like, we started scaling up slowly. So 2 data centers we took. It ran in active passive fashion. You all hear active passive, right? So since most of you guys are from DevOps or infra background, you will understand active passive. You have a primary data center, you have a failover data center. Anything happens on the primary, you fail over to the disaster recovery side. And when we started, the time was like 30 minutes. So we take 30 minutes to switch over the transaction. The reason being, you need to sync the DP, you need to do a lot of sanity checks to ensure that your consistency is taken care of. And we were very comfortable. Like, I mean, people doesn't really bother about whether your online system is available or not, whether digital payment rail is available or not. That time it was okay. You have a backup plan. Your cash is there with you, so you will just pay in cash. And more or less it was all same. So only difference was two data center. We had active passive model for both online system, back office, net, everything else was same. And only software we started building our own. Then, then we started adopting open source. Like one of the thought process was like, okay, you want to build your system, and we were paying massive amount to all the cloud providers and DB providers because they will bleed you. Like the moment your volume scales up, they will start charge you more, and they will start giving more license cost. And depending upon the number of core and scale, you will end up in paying more and more. So we started realizing for a country like India, you need to make the payments more cheaper, and it should be cost effective. You can't really have a high paying system which bleeds a lot of money, and you will not be sustainable. And we started thinking long term. Like this is the time when UPI started. 2015 we started internal development. So that time we just simple four principles for us. One is you need control over code. So anything and everything you build, you should have control. Either build custom or you take open source and own the code. Second one was anything we build should scale to the population. So our target at that point of time was 1 billion in a year, because we just thought we can handle population scale at that point of time. But recently, what we did is like we benchmarked to 100k TPS. So we are in UPI 3.0 architecture or payment system 3.0 architecture. So we started with very low TPS, and then we went to something called million a day, and then we are in billion a day. So recently we did 10 billion a day. So our systems are scaled to handle 10 billion transactions in a day at any point of time, even on a single data center. So we call it as 10 bad architecture. And that is what you see, 100k TPS at any point of time it will support. 100k TPS means it's not request, it's a one complete business transaction every second. And third one is the security. So when you make UPI payment, right, you must have seen a common PIN entry page. Whether it is Beam, whether it is PhonePe, whether it is Google Pay, you have the single interface for PIN. That is basically the SDK which we build and running on the devices. So we take in charge of security control on the device. So you will never lose your PIN, it's always safe, and we enforced all the security controls on the device. And we designed the system like that. So your edge will be controlled by us, especially when you do the UPI payment, only on the security aspect. And it's all anonymous, so it never connects to the central system. It runs on the device. And we implemented in 2016. Like that time the devices were very initial stage, but still we were able to make it happen. And the final one is you should have ideally a near zero RTO or RPO. So your transaction should not suffer. Even if you are one side or one entire region down, still your transaction should be able to process. Because today we can't really afford a 1 minute downtime. So the moment we are down, we are a first page news. So you will start seeing like people are not able to make Zomato payment, people are not able to make Swiggy payment, UPI is down. Irrespective of whether bank is down, UPI is down. So in 1 minute we will get the alert that okay, everything is down, so you start getting into the call. And this is what we did. So one second. And I just want to ask one question. How many of you know the peak TPS which NPCI process? 1 second, how many transactions it process in real? Any idea? Any guess? 10,000? It's more or less? Less. Okay. 20,000? Okay. 20,000. Okay. So we touched a peak of 24,000 TPS when it was IPL. So this recent IPL happened, right? So we touched 24,000. That's the peak as of now. Next peak we are expecting 30,000 during Diwali, because Diwali is the festive season. And one more thing, interesting fact is during Onam, right? So we touched close to 23,000. So Onam was the maximum spend in Kerala. Like I mean, we were like surprised. So suddenly during Uttaradam day, we touched 23,000 peak TPS at 6:30 p.m. We were like so happy. Like I mean, okay, Malayalis are spending so much. Okay, that is very recent. I think 2 weeks back. And so once we started adopting, this is the stack we took. We took Cassandra as the database, and we took Postgres as the database, and KeyDB. Anyone heard of KeyDB? Okay, anyone uses Redis? Okay, so Redis is a not name. KeyDB is basically alternative to Redis, which supports a multi-master replication. You can run across data centers, you can have active at any point of time. Redis is an active passive mode. It comes with a sentinel. You can do failover only. You can't really do a multi-master. And So this is the current UPI architecture, which supports close to 700 million transactions every day, which is scaled to handle 1 billion transactions in a day, only approved transaction. So we have 3 data centers, all active, active, active. Everything is stateless, and we leverage Kafka a lot. We don't write directly into database. So we stream everything through Kafka, and everything will have a persistent state in in-memory database. We use KeyDB for that. And it's a very simple layered architecture. You have WAF layer for the firewall, and you have the load balancer, you have API gateway, and then you have the application. And we are not a big fan of microservices. I think I saw one person was talking, like the moment network comes into picture, right, your failure tolerance is very low. Like, I mean, you prone to fail faster. So we have monolithic design, but application is structured in a way that you can spin up and route the traffic at any point of time. I can distribute only the financial transaction in one set of application, and I can take out the non-financial transaction to another set of application groups. So its code is monolithic, but it's just spin up into services, and you can just route everything parallelly. And this is one of the example. Like, I mean, someone who are technical, who want to build a massive scale system, right? I have very less time, so I am not going deeper. You can take a photo. So this is something we learned over the period of time, how we built 1.0, 2.0, and 3.0. Now we are into a phase where we want to squeeze every millisecond latency. So at a scale of like 20 million transaction, taking 1 millisecond latency out is a big gain, especially when it comes to the infrastructure. And I think most of you took the photo. And this is one of our open source contribution. So we started contributing back. Like most of our products are coming out, including Beam. We wanted to open source. So we are in a process to open source Beam so that anyone can adopt it. UPI is the only thing we are retaining back because of the scale, and we wanted to have that competitor advantage. Rest everything, so the orchestration engine, databases which we built in-house. We built our own database also, like similar to a distributed database, right, like Yugabyte. So we built our own database, and we ran our own database also in-house. And this is the takeaway which I mentioned at the start, right? So one is we picked up open source first approach. Like if you are a entrepreneur, right, you want to build a startup or you want to scale your systems, right? If you have a really good engineering team, it's a best approach to take the open source. You don't need to pay much. You can customize in whatever forms and fashion you want. You can scale, and you can take a support from the community or from the OEM itself. That's what we do. And always on architecture, what we call, it's active. Achieving in cloud is much easier, but we implemented in our own data center to make completely resilient, active across multiple data centers. So we do failover automatically, very transparent to the external world. And failsafe is something we do. It's an equivalent of your Chavos monkey. So we built our in-house solutions which can do active failsafing. So it will keep on killing some services here and there, even during the peak time. It will help us to identify what is your single point of failure and what is non-failures, which we can address. And the QoS enforcement we do, everything, even the DB interaction, you have a strict SLA. So our DB interaction latency is like 1 millisecond. If you breach 1 millisecond latency in a write, we consider it as a degraded service. And same thing we do with all the interactions. Any external service we interact other than the application, so we enforce the SQL, the quality service, and we ensure that okay, service is degraded and we can promote the other one. And we have the native observability built. You understand everything in the system, like what happens and how it works. And the second last one is the zero trust architecture. So we don't trust anyone. So everything is enforced with a control to validate and ensure that okay, it comes with a proper data integrity and everything. So we do signing, we do encryption, we do fingerprinting, just to ensure that your device, when you use UPI payment, right, the moment you register the device, you will be able to do transaction only from that device. So we have a device fingerprinting. The moment you remove the SIM, right, your UPI will get deactivated. So that's how we are controlling fraud. So you can try removing your SIM, you need to re-register. So that's a control we added with the device fingerprinting. And spec is something we standardize. You build the protocol layer, technology will just adopt, like how PhonePe, Google Pay, even the soundbox you see, right? Soundbox is not built by NPCI. So they just follow our standards built by all the aggregators like Paytm, PhonePe and all. It made the life more easier for everyone who accepts the cash. And that's all from my side. You can ask questions. So I was going faster because I have very limited time. So you can ask questions, anything related to engineering, technology, payments in NPCI. And questions are open, right? I don't know. Questions, we can, no? Okay. Okay then, I mean, we can meet outside. Yeah. Thank you.